up. These are 5 questions that you use to avoid decision disasters. Just takes a couple of minutes to go through these 5 questions and will avoid so many screw-ups, whether writing important emails, preparing important documents, preparing for meetings where you're trying to communicate change, thinking about how to write up something about change issues. You want to ask these questions 2 to 5 times a day for any decision that you don't want to screw up. And again, there are lots of things where you don't want to screw up these decisions. It will take you 2 minutes to ask these questions. Once you learn about the questions and the technique to asking them, it will take you many, many hours to undo screw-ups, maybe hundreds of hours potentially, and potentially many thousands of dollars, whereas it'll take you only a couple of minutes to do these questions. First question. What information didn't I yet fully consider? So what information didn't you fully take into account about this question? The confirmation bias tends to cause us to ignore information that we don't like to hear. So that's a big, big challenge. So for example, if you're writing an important email where you want to encourage someone to engage in some change issue, an individual faculty member, let's say you're trying to persuade them to take diversity requirements more seriously on a search committee, think about not simply, don't ignore all their reasoning. Think about why they might not take into account these diversity requirements. Maybe they're feeling pressured. Maybe they're feeling that they're uncomfortable. Maybe they're trying to prioritize the research accomplishments over diversity requirements. And you need to think about them. You need to think about their perspective. What does it mean to be in their shoes? How can you address the illusion of transparency to communicate effectively to this person and help clarify to them why it's such a high priority and why in the end it will be beneficial for them and the whole university to make sure that diversity requirements are treated just as importantly as high quality research. Then, what dangerous judgment errors didn't I yet address? So if you're writing this email, I mentioned confirmation bias, and then another one might be illusion of transparency. Maybe there is a horns effect going on. Maybe they're feeling negative towards you because you are an HR person and they're a faculty member and they're feeling like you're on different sides. So you want to make sure to convey that you're on their side and that you're helping them address problems that they would experience if they're not taking your advice into account. What would a trusted and objective advisor suggest I do? So think about that little angel on your shoulder. What would they suggest you do in the situation? Maybe someone who's a senior member of your HR team, maybe someone who's in DC Group HR, a member of the board, the president, somebody like that, somebody who is a senior and experienced HR person who can help you advise you on this question. Maybe a dean who is an ally of yours on getting diversity and inclusion requirements pushed into the faculty search activities, but that you might not want to bug them immediately in each question. So you'll get a lot of the benefit just by asking what this person would tell you in this situation. About 50% of the benefit of this question just comes from being outside of yourself and saying, hey, what would this person tell me in this situation? What would I tell a trusted and objective friend in this situation as a trusted and objective advisor? And of course, you can get the other 50% of the benefit if you feel it's necessary by calling this person, or if you're a millennial, texting this person, or Zooming this person. Next, how have I addressed all the ways this could fail? So think about all the ways that this email to this faculty member can fail, the chair of the search committee. Maybe there was right now, for example, there's definitely a third wave of COVID is increasing. There's more and more problems going on. Maybe their school has gone from an in-person setting to an all virtual setting because of this wave of COVID, because the state government has shut down schools. That certainly can happen. So right now, their kids are at home and they're overwhelmed with work and taking care of their kids. And so they're pretty stressed out and struggling and upset. So think about somebody who's distracted, stressed out, struggling and upset, and reread your email draft to make sure that they would pay attention to the important parts of the email, draw their attention to it, and prevent anything that's maybe perceived as guilting or blaming them that they might interpret in a hostile manner. Finally, what new information would cause me to revisit this decision? So what would cause you to change your mind about this email. So for example, if you're writing this email, you could set a specific revision date. You could say that, hey, if I don't hear back from the chair of the search committee in a week, then I will give this person a call. So that gives you a certain specific clear revision point. That's new information. Okay, this timeline would cause me to change my decision of just sending the email. Now I'll give a call to this person. So that might be a specific clear revision point. If you don't have that revision point, you'll be wondering every day, well, why is this person not responding to me? What's going on? Did I upset them? Did I frustrate them? Are they not taking me seriously? And you'll be growing more and more anxious. Whereas if you have that week-long revision point, you exactly know what you're going to do in a week. You're going to give them a call and you'll see what's up with them. So this is the way that you use this technique. All right. Now I want you to go back to the poll and please vote on how much value you see in your team using this technique for your decision-making. And there are everyday decisions. So please go ahead and vote. And again, it's going to be in the chat if you don't have the poll up yet. So please make sure to go ahead and vote. I see 50% of the people voted. Okay, we're at 70%. Let's get a few more. Give you 10 more seconds to vote. Three more seconds to make your voice heard. All right. Great. So we see that everyone would find some value in it, which is great. So, and this seems a little bit even more valuable than the assessment on dangerous judgment errors. So those who would find moderate value in it, what you would just over 40% of you, what you want to do is definitely start using it yourself. So, and I will send you a decision aid with these 5 questions, which you can start using, print it out, put it by your computer, start using it yourself. And then as you find value in it, to get it to your colleagues in the HR department. For those who would find high value in it, that means that you don't simply want to use it yourself. You want to, as you get it, you want to forward it to your colleagues. I'll send you an email with additional resources. You can forward it to anyone you want. And I recommend that you forward it to your colleagues and tell them that, hey, you found this useful. You'll have the recorded webinar, and send it with them and say, hey, this is, I think, is something that we should definitely start using in our decision-making around resistance to change and other decision-making. All right, let's go on to a more broad technique, one that is for more significant decisions. These 5 questions, you should be using, like I said, 2 to 5 times a day, any email, any meeting, any report, anything that you don't want to screw up as you're preparing it, writing it up, maybe an announcement of some sort. Maybe you're choosing something about changing something and it's kind of a minor thing and you want to make sure it's not screwed up. When you're doing something